In the last 24 hours, the earth shook on 3 different continents. 3 of them. You got Venezuela, Japan, Northern California, and the internet is already asking the same question. Is something going on with this planet right now? I went and actually looked into it. Here's what's real, and here's what's just the algorithm playing tricks on your brain. All right. But what happened was Venezuela got hit the worst. Two powerful earthquakes, 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude, like less than a minute apart. Buildings collapsed in Caracas, at least 32 people dead, hundreds injured. And some of it got caught live on broadcast. There was a professional baseball game underway at Estadio University, something like that. In Caracas Stadium. It was built in like 1952. It had about 20,000 people, and then you could see like the center field camera caught it. Like the second the ground started moving, players and coaches sprinting out of the dugout straight to the middle of the field, as far from the stands as they could. The broadcast feed cut shortly after. Let's take a look at that mug right quick, y'all. It's crazy, man. Don't take that music off, man. We'll take the music off. Yeah, so this is where it hit. It's like got a lot of buildings down. All right, here we go, right here.
Mantuvieron el ritmo y llegaron en condiciones, bueno, idóneas.
That's crazy, bro. You can like see it shaking already.
Para estar en el estadio, ¿no?
Dog, bro.
Siempre se ve algo por primera vez.
Bueno, I bet you it's hard to walk when the ground's shaking. That's probably what it is, man. Dang, bro. And it just started shaking right there. 2 other games that same night got interrupted too. Like one stopped mid-inning. Obviously, y'all seen that. Another barely made it past the national anthem. Japan got hit next, like a 6.9 to a 7.2 magnitude quake right out the coast of Awadi Prefecture. There's no tsunami warnings as of yet, but it was strong enough that people there could only crawl. They couldn't even walk, bruh. While it was happening, a few injuries they reported out there. And right there in California, Willits, so there's 3 of them, right? And Willis, they got hit with a 5.6 magnitude quake. It's the strongest the area felt since 1940. There was some injuries, no deaths reported yet, but power and water was knocked out for like thousands, man. But this the question. So naturally, people are connecting dots, right? 3 big earthquakes, 3 continents, one day has to mean something, right? So I want to give you the real answer, not the scary one, right? Japan alone averages an earthquake of like magnitude 4 or higher every 8 hours. But that's over 1,000 a year just in that one country. I tell you what, let's look at some of the other news coverages while we talking about that, because I want y'all to see this too.
And in California today, this morning started with a 6.9 up north in Mendocino County. This evening, back-to-back earthquakes in Venezuela. A 7.2 quickly followed by a 7.5.
And a 6.9 struck off the northern coast of Japan. Our team coverage begins with Tom Waite showing us the devastating impact in Venezuela and in Japan. Tom.
It's just so difficult to see these images coming out of Venezuela tonight as we take a closer look at them. Tonight, it's a race to find survivors. These powerful quakes hit Venezuela's capital so hard, taking down buildings across the city. Severe damage also being reported outside of Caracas. The country's main airport also so damaged, it's been shut down.
Man.
Heartbreaking and horrific scenes playing out in the Venezuelan capital of Caracas. The powerful earthquake brought down buildings, terrified and panicked residents scrambling to escape, running into the streets. This woman says, "We opened the door as best we could. There was a cloud of smoke, and when we went down to the scene, it was like a horror movie." Rescue teams fanned out across the city, this video appearing to show a shell-shocked woman covered in dust as she's helped away from a collapsed building. The quakes are among the strongest to strike Venezuela in more than a century. The interior minister went on state television telling people to check on their neighbors and remain outside because aftershocks could damage more buildings. Caltech seismologist Dr. Lucy Jones says the death toll could be in the tens of thousands.
This one began to the west but ruptured towards Caracas and therefore leading to quite high shaking levels in the city of Caracas. The USGS runs something called the Pager program. They take the information we have about where the shaking occurred, compared to where people live and the type of buildings that they have. And they estimate that this is going to be a very devastating earthquake with the highest probability that the death toll is between 10,000 and 100,000 people.
This video from Guatire, about 20 miles outside of Caracas, shows buildings decimated, neighborhoods completely leveled, reduced to piles of rubble. The U.S. State Department announced tonight that search and rescue teams are being sent along with medical and humanitarian supplies. So, I think right now we just don't even know how many people may be missing, how many people may have been killed in this horrific tragedy. We'll have to see, as the hours progress.
Yeah, so a lot to figure out.
Yeah.
Tom, thank you.
Thank you.
And we're just getting
So Willis is where that California quake hit. They say that area get about 13 earthquakes a year if you count every single size, over 20 a year above magnitude like 3. So how do y'all do it that live out there in California? Y'all always have quakes, man. I don't see it look like tearing down buildings and stuff. Earthquakes are happening on this planet constantly, every single day. And most of them are too small or too far from people to ever even make the news. The only reason these 3 made it to your feed on the same day is that all 3 happen to be strong enough and like populated enough places to actually get covered, right? And here's the part that matters the most, because there's no scientific mechanism connecting an earthquake in Venezuela to one in Japan to one in California. Different tectonic plates and it's different fault lines, but they're thousands of miles apart. And seismologists have looked for decades for proof that quakes can trigger each other across that kind of like distance, and the evidence isn't there that they can do that. So let's look at this last clip, man. Let's see if anything else is going on with it.
Here in the United States, some breaking news. 3 separate earthquakes in 3 countries today, including one here in the United States. The most recent tonight off the coast of Venezuela. 2 back-to-back earthquakes, magnitude 7.2 and 7.5. They struck about 100 miles west of Caracas. This is video of search and rescue crews going through collapsed buildings there. People describe buildings swaying and walls collapsing. Some areas lost cell phone service, so calling for help or calling family members is difficult. Right now, the airport is closed, and at this point, no updates from the government on the number of injuries or fatalities. Another earthquake tonight struck Japan. This one had a magnitude of 6.9. A camera was rolling and shaking as that earthquake hit. It struck off the coast of Honshu, which is Japan's main island. There have been strong earthquakes recently in the area. There are no reports of any injuries or damage in Japan, and officials say there is no danger of a tsunami. And we have new video of an earthquake today in Northern California. The epicenter near the town of Willits, about 140 miles north of San Francisco. Thousands of people left without power, and authorities encouraged people to stay off the roads so emergency crews and workers could get by. There were reports of some people injured.
All right, so what y'all are noticing is really like a pattern in your news feed. It's not a pattern in the planet. Our brains are like wired to find like patterns, especially scary ones. But 3 disasters hitting the same day feels like it has to mean something. But this is actually just a normal Tuesday for planet Earth. You just don't usually hear about all 3 at once. If anything, this should make you appreciate how much this planet is shaking all the time, that you never even hear about it. 3 real disasters, 3 real communities dealing with real damage right now, but one planet doing exactly what it's always done. But I tell you what, though, we gonna keep an eye on the recovery in all 3 places. And remember, we don't forget on this.